Good morning. Good morning. Well, it's about to be good evening, but I just uploaded a short video just now before I went live. And this live, I hope with your with everybody's help, I hope this goes and Carter is faced not just by me, but with over 40 child exploitation cases sitting on Detective Myers, Indiana State Police, as well as Kokomo Police Department Detective Benzinger. It's not just us that deserve, but it's these children, these victims that have been victimized for the rest of their lives. They're going to remember this for the rest of their lives, be changed for the rest of their lives. They deserve answers. And I figured we'd try to come back over here on StreamYard. And the reason being is I noticed my live the other day. Some of you were coming in on comments, and I was interacting with you on comments. They were popping up, they were showing up. I'm able to read them, and a lot of these comments just went MIA. So I figured I'd come back to StreamYard. We're going to give this another try. And I didn't notice with my headphones I usually wear. I don't know if it was the mic was too close to my mouth or what, but it was crackling. So if we have somebody that wants to come in as a guest, I'll put those on and bear with me. I'm hoping it doesn't crack and all that while I'm talking to you guys. But that little short tidbit of a video, I need to break it down and clean it up a whole lot more. But what I'm getting at is you've got on my community page, some of you are asking, who's this Detective Myers with Indiana State Police that I've actually talked to in a interview room? And these 40 plus child exploitation cases. One of these cases, what do we know now? It was later on 2018 when another group finally looked in after what I've already been showing and proving it's been up there before murder sheets ever was a thing, was ever a household name. I had right there a detective, two detectives at that, saying that they refused to get FBI's help and involvement because it is not a federal issue. Look this up yourselves. Child exploitation, child porn, these sort of things, it's not just a state and local issue, it is a federal violation. You can easily get help from the FBI. When I confronted them, like you see on the shorter version I showed right there, no, it's a state and local issue. It's not a federal issue. We refuse. Even though we do not have the manpower or the funds to get 40 plus children, mind you, children victims, the ability to get justice, their cases are going to be sitting cold on our desks, nothing getting done for years, even when we are sitting at right now, years later. How many of these cases never got a day of justice? Really makes you wonder. And I think you have Carter running around saying, I trust my detectives. Uh, there's no incompetence. There's don't look at us. Oh, there's no issues on their part. There's 40 plus child exploitation victims. Their cases, their families, no otherwise. And it's not for the benefit of me getting these answers. These children, some of them are adults now, they deserve answers. And Superintendent Carter, you need to man up. You need to give these families, these children, just that answers. How's this acceptable? Why is it acceptable? And the behavior shown by your detectives right there, the incompetence, the egotistical incompetence by even some of your own detectives. And we're supposed to believe you word for word, hand over hand. We're supposed to trust in you guys that you are doing the right thing. But yeah, I've got it right there in the interview room with one of your own detectives a year before me sitting down talking to them. The older child predator, you refused and you actually silently looked away from. Gabriel Ellis was the older child predator. Where do you think Keegan Klein learned everything he learned from? Not only the drug ring, the gang life, but being a child predator. He learned from a older predator, one that had power over him, that can manipulate and actually have him do things he wanted him to do. You had his right hand man, Blaine Nelson, one of the big dealers, under Gabe, right beside Gabe, actually admit to everyone he did not. Keegan did not go to Vegas for weed. Gabe Ellis in that ring, Kokomo wise, sent him for a meth run. But nothing to see there. Like I said in that short video, you have adult predators like Gabriel Ellis getting not one charge on them court wise when it comes to child exploitation, child porn, nothing. But you have child victims having to go through the children's court, juvenile hall, and doing their time. That for a fact happened more than once. And it happens a lot where the adult predators don't get a single charge. But yet, you've got the children victims getting charged for the exact same crime, incorrigible and whatever it may be. They have to do their time, serve their time, deal with the girls' school, whatever it may be. But the adults, case dismissed, wiped off, no charges. How is that acceptable? And without my headphones on, can you guys hear me okay? But I've never been afraid of speaking up. I've actually called out, and I'm telling you guys now, the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force and the agent over me, Michael Curtis, knew intel about a missing gold case that one of their own informants, me, I went from being a informant for them for years to being a federal eyewitness to a missing and murdered case. They mishandled me, my intelligence, my intel, even though I've proven and I've got the original emails. I pulled them up. I did find them the other night to the prosecutors over Ashley Garth and Garrett Kurtz, their case. What turned that whole issue around, where it forced them to look towards the drug ring, the ties and connections on Nicole Bowen's case. I've been saying that for a while now. But I'm going to state this right now. I'm not nuts when I say this, but the FBI, Joint Terrorism Task Force, that agency, that little branch right there with Joint Terrorism Task Force, have known intel about multitude of other cases. You got the Florida shootings. You got a New Mexico jihad compound where a 3-year-old lost their life. You've got multiple shootings where you've got young and old alike losing their lives. You've got the same time frame. FBI coming out. We knew intel. We failed to act. That happened. In the same time frame, it's Karina's case, Delphi, the floor fires. Tara, it's another YouTuber. Some of you guys may know her name. I won't give her last name, but I'm not going to no longer call her YouTube page. I'm calling her out by name. She's let you guys know about a few things, but what she has not told you guys is Galen Rose, her affiliations with this drug ring. That same drug ring having the affiliations with the house up to the night right before the fires. It's there. It's known about. Not only that, but you've got Jennifer showing up with being friends with Derek German. You got Terry German, Brad German, AJ Robinson, other names. This is a murder suspect sitting behind bars for over 60 years now. You've got 3 individuals right now that know and have been pressed to a certain extent on only these 3 murders. But when you've got multiple family members, friends, affiliations, friends with more than one murder suspect, and nothing to see here, then you got a Superintendent Carter running around. Believe us. Believe everything we're saying. We're doing right. We're here for justice, for these kids, for these cases. But yet, you're hearing it for yourselves. And this is just 2018. How many more child exploitation cases in other counties, other posts? How high has this number been allowed to get to? This is some hidden information they do not want you to know. It's out of the bag. It's already been recorded. And there was about over, I want to say about 16, 17 individuals that ended up taking early retirements and leaving. Just Kokomo PD from when I did this video, 2018, and I started making a fuss within KPD. There's been close to almost about 2 dozen now individuals that took early retirement and ran. Hell, a detective, one of the original detectives on Karina's case, took his early retirement. Now he's working for the coroner's office. Yeah. And a lot of these happened right after I did this video with inside KPD, after I was getting tired of being called a liar. I don't know what I'm talking about. It blows my mind. And has anybody sent any comments on? I'm trying to see if there's any comments. So you guys are able to hear me, correct? So I'm just trying to make sure if somebody could drop a comment, just make sure you guys can hear me okay. If not, I'll throw these headphones on where you can hear me a little bit clearer. second, I'll pull up my iPad and make sure, because I can mute the iPad. So I'm going to see if anybody's saying anything. So I'm not missing anybody's questions or anything. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, one thing I want you guys to look up is right now with that video that I just posted up, and if you go back to the original video, it's about 30 some odd minutes. This detective Benzinger is the one that's pushing his weight around and saying what is and what isn't federal and state local laws. There was a new law, the Police Accountability Act, that was turned into a law here recently. Look that up. And here's where we need to, and not just need to, we must. And I hope after this live, enough people reach out to Superintendent Carter. How is this acceptable by not just a single detective? But if you looked up Charles Chuck Myers, what he actually is in charge of, if you look on my community page, like if you can pull up another like page, look up on my community page, you'll see exactly who uh, Detective Myers is with them. He's in charge of the Child Crime Task Force, and that includes sexual exploitation, child porn, that sort of thing. He is one of the head of the heads. You've got individuals like that sitting right there. When I confronted them, their excuse of why at 2018, over 40 child exploitation cases sitting on Kokomo Police Department and Indiana State Miami Post detective's desk is because of manpower issues and funding. You heard it right there when I asked them if that is the issue. You don't have enough manpower, you don't have the funding to get these children, these victims, justice, then why aren't you asking the federal for help? Their excuse is child exploitation, child porn are state and local issues, not federal violations. But yet, on FBI's own page, you can see right there, what do we investigate? Crimes against children, be it sexual exploitation, sexual trafficking. These are federal mandated laws that they do cover. And you got egotistical detectives within Indiana State Police and Kokomo Police Department, just to name a couple, that are choosing their egos, their companies' egos, over getting these children one day of justice, one case, any form of justice. And Carter's part of the tentacles. I do have to agree with you guys on that because he is in charge of every single state police post. He is the head of the head, top of the top. You can't tell me issues going on with you've got a local PD and one of your own detectives within your post in Miami County sitting right there admitting to 40 plus child exploitation cases sitting cold on their desk. They refuse to get federal help. And you're going on talk shows, Dr. Phil. You're going on national talk shows. You're going on national news, local news. Believe us. Have faith in us. Put your trust in us. It's kind of hard to put my trust in you, believe you, put my life in your hands when this is what you're accepting. This is accepted and acceptable behavior and actions by your own detectives, right there in their own words, admitting it. How is this acceptable? Superintendent Carter, how is that acceptable? And you're supposed to then have us put all our blind faith, our trust in you and your department, your detectives, your troopers, like we're supposed to have like all the trust in the world with you. It's kind of hard now. And that's exactly why I'm wondering, Hoosier, why do they not want federal help? Would that show corruption? Would that show incompetence on detectives, law enforcement, up to even state troopers? But like that short video, these two detectives were. It's a word salad. That's why a lot of people. It's only been like over 1K views since I've had it up. Nobody's really sat through about the 32-minute video where I'm sitting inside KPD, and mind you, I was told finally I was able to go speak to KPD on the record after Michael Curtis, the Joint Terrorism Task Force FBI agent, gave me strict orders. I was to stay talking to them and the FBI about Karina's case, anything I knew about Delphi, down to the fact that Michael Curtis was one of the first agents involved in Delphi. They were already looking at, like I said, a domestic terrorism issue and some names that here recently, some of these names you're seeing, some of these issues like the Sons of Odin issues they knew months ahead of time, they were already looking at. Ron Logan's property. They were already watching it for more than one reason. A militia group trading on his property, shooting targets and doing little AK training at Ron Logan's property. They were already watching Ron Logan's property. Why do you think FBI was so quick and so apt to get involved and go after Ron Logan? They knew intel, his property, some of the things his property's been used for, by who, by what. And what's really mind boggling is there's one individual, it's a Frank Castiel, it's a former sheriff out of Michigan. For years, he himself was sitting on my informant files as a domestic terrorism threat, where he belonged to. And do you realize he actually sits right now with more than one uh, state trooper of Carter's he's friends with? How's that acceptable? You got eight state troopers uh, friends with a domestic terrorism suspect that's been known and has been watched by FBI for years. How's that acceptable, Carter? So where these people are at now, they come out, speak up, and out. And nobody, nothing. I'm gonna be blatantly honest with you. I've actually talked to. There's an aunt of a local child, the coroner's office and KPD. wants you to think was a suicide, and they're afraid of speaking up and out against this drug ring, the ones in and around it, knowing how deadly this drug ring is. If they would speak up, speak out, speak up against this drug ring, I got an aunt of MEYERS looked at me for the sake of my child and my own safety and well-being, for our sake of our lives. I would speak up and speak out. Others within our families and other families would do so, but it's the threat. They know if they speak up and speak up against this deadly serial killing drug ring, you've got more than one individual that's within this drug ring that is a not just single, not just one time, two time, but a multiple killings, serial killing. This cartel drugging as a whole, the multiple deaths, and some of these deaths have been done by more than one over and over again. It is a serial killing issue within this. And it's not at the same time, every single case, it's the same person being the one that's doing the killing. Few of the cases, yes, that is the case. But other times, it's other individuals in and around this drug ring. And you've already got Garrett Kurtz, Ashley Garth admitting they killed Nicole Bowen. Why? They were afraid she was going to roll on their operations within that drug ring. Then you got some individuals that have spoke out on Nicole's family. They feel the reason she was really killed wasn't just because of the drug ring. They felt she was about to say something what she knew when it comes to that drug ring on Delphi. She was silenced. She was killed to make sure that did not come out. So yeah, then you got some people that are willing and trying to speak up. There's an individual, Jeremy. He was killed 96 days after Delphi by Alan Tinker. He had information and was coming. And you tell me if there wasn't an insider letting this ring individuals like Alan Tinker, Gabe Ellis, and a few others. Hey, we got an individual that's been willing to speak with the detective. This is who it is, and this is kind of what he's willing to tell us. He was killed 96 days after Delphi. And the reason why is he had intel of Alan Tinker's involvement in not only Karina's, but others' missing killed cases. Alan Tinker stabbed him and only got 10 years for murder. And that wasn't just a spur of the moment, that was a planned, orchestrated murder to silence somebody where if they came out with some damning information, it would involved Alan Tinker within Karina's case. And at one point, I had Alan Tinker, and I still can show this, where he was wanting to come forward with me on everything he knew about Gabriel Ellis and others involved with Karina's case. He was wanting to speak up and rat on anybody and everybody he could to get less time. It's no better than the corruption and liars within. I think these surrounding sheriffs and LA are playing both sides. Thank you. And that goes back. I've got a IMPD, Indianapolis Metro Police Department Officer Garland Odell Cooper, Southeast Side IMPD. I got him He is no better than the rest. I've got conversations. I've got the full conversations with this officer. And the main two cases I was talking about with this drug ring, the network analysis that's shown in around this drug ring, not only in Karina and Delphi cases that it was showing up at, but I've got an IMPD officer admitting that yes, there is ties and connections between this drug ring, Karina, and Delphi cases. They are seeing this back to even toddlers cases down Indy, among others. Jamie Beasley, Tony Klein, and that's CLINE, uh, not E, but CLIN, not K. That's Tony Klein. And then you got Mariah Coy, Jamie Beasley's cousin, murdered. Then you got other cases uh, that stem from there. There's over 70 missing and killed cases, and over these 70, there is no less than 19 of these cases are children missing, killed, and murdered. And more than once, I've got law enforcement like Garland Odell Cooper, that officer, admitting that yes, they are seeing ties and connections back to these cases, but yet, has there been anything done? No. Is it incompetence? Corruption? We don't know. But then when I'm seeing a state senator, and then you've got a former Howard County commissioner, they're brokers within their real estate company, friends with almost every dealer that was picked up in 2018, 2020, 2022 raids. That's another thing. I want you guys to use your own uh, Google. And since I've been talking and speaking up on this drug ring, the affiliations, has there been a bust in 22 or 23, Carroll County, Delphi wise? The more I keep talking about this ring, like Blaine McClellan, Nicholas McClellan's first cousin, dealing in methamphetamine, you got elected officials like Nita Duff, William Duff, and mind you, if you look, Blaine McClellan, William Duff, among a multitude of other dealers, including 3 murder suspects sitting behind bars, are sitting friends with multiple of others dealers like Josh Lank. You've got Del Wood, Derek German, Dustin Prater. The network analysis is there. It's sitting right in front of everybody's face. You got family members on both sides, even admitting that yes, they are long time, lifelong friends with murder suspects. More than one of them, multiple, multiple murder suspects, but nothing to see here. Especially one of these, like Jennifer, left the house before the fire in Florida happened. She was the last one to leave that night right before the fires happened. And she got paid $20 in her role in a Florida murder for only $20. Her role, assisting, helping in a murder for only $20. It's individuals like Ashley Garth, Garrett Kurtz. Two, I've already proven the affiliations and the connections back to this drug ring is why they killed. I proved that already. Why they're sitting behind bars. We need individuals like Garrett Kurtz, Ashley Garth, Jennifer, backed into a wall. Their affiliations to this drug ring and this drug ring's long history of missing and murdered individuals, both young and old alike. And everybody thinks I'm going after all these junkies. I'm trying to open their eyes. One of the biggest issues I'm seeing is within a lot of these missing and killed cases, be it young and old alike, it's all targeting a certain demographic, a troubled community. The same troubled community for ages now, for years and years. Corruption has been a fact involved with. Cops from all the way up high to down to the lowest officer. It's been proven year after year for years. A lot of these individuals getting money thrown their way to look the opposite way. Don't look here. There's nothing to see here. Then for how many years have we been actually told on YouTube? Here I am, an individual. I was screaming like hell for the FBI to listen. I'm on like FBI 1023 Federal Informant Records being asked to look at like the Sons of Odin issue. The Sons of Odin issue was a known issue, a domestic terrorism threat, and a threat to lives months before Delphi even happened. It's actually why Michael Curtis and his partner were there when the girl's case happened. Why Michael Curtis, one of the first federal agents involved. He was looking up into my intel and individuals like Brad Holder and among others. Hell, I've got uh, was active at the time, National Guard member from Ohio when I was speaking out about his affiliations, some of the same ones that go back to over 2 dozen friends of a certain well-known Indiana State Trooper that's been talking about Delphi case left and right. Over 2 dozen of his friends sit friends of multiple domestic terrorism suspects that sit in my files. What you guys will be like blown away on what I'm saying and what I've been saying from the very get go. I will mark my word right now. The FBI knew intel when it came to Delphi. Their failure to act, their lies, disregard, and negligence allowed those two little girls and other children to lose their lives. And before you think I'm nuts, like I said, look up the multiple times FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force, that agency's branch right there, has been forced to come out publicly when individuals like myself has spoke up, was listened to, got the people behind them demanding answers. You had the FBI coming out right then and there multiple times. We knew until we failed to act. We're sorry, it's not going to happen again. Multiple kids have lost their lives over negligence, incompetence, disregard. Then you got another issue where I'm bringing up, and I'm going to bring this up. You got the drug task force, multiple agencies, both local, you got the county, and you got the state and federal. These detectives know damn well the network analysis, the deeper network analysis. Some of these names I have yet to say. Their direct affiliations. Yeah, Derek German rolled on this individual to get less time for this, or this charging. Or his family, Del Wood. Let this information be known on this individual or this said group. And this is where it's a touchy subject, but the witness rights and protections. If you had an individual wrong on a certain drug organization for less time on their own charges, these detectives, their incompetence, if you failed to uphold those federally regulated laws and protections and allowed, say, children like Liberty and Abigail to lose their lives, and the motivation factor was going back to these children, their family, what they did, their dealing, their ammonia theft to get less time, was told, hey, trust us. Put your trust in us. Put your family, your children's own lives, and trust in us. We got you. We won't let anything happen to you or your family. And what did they allow? So I want you to keep that in mind. You got certain detectives back to when, if it comes out that yes, this drug ring is involved, these are the other names that are involved. I've been saying it for years, but it comes out to be a holy crap. He hasn't been just saying these names for nothing. Wow. But then again, you got to think with them doing that, it goes back to these detectives that use these individuals to get busts. And look how thousands upon thousands, millions are made by these agencies, and they give a little bit of time off and here's a couple grand for your information, but they make millions. They get the property seizures, the money, the drugs, all this taken in. Motorcycles, dirt bikes, anything like that, houses, they seize. And I'm pretty sure you guys have all heard about a public auction that a police department or sheriff's department, state police, even FBI, of doing auctions of selling off real estate, goods, things seized. They get a certain percentage of the money seized. Some of this money, when it comes to like a not detective, but deputy's death, like over in Howard County, again, a botched raid against this drug ring. There's $2,500 that came up missing that he seized or that day before he was killed. There's another I've heard $10,000, $20,000 of drugs and money missing out of uh and this is known for years now of happening where there's evidence. Not all of it was put into the evidence locker, locked up in storage. You've got, say, 30 grand you took off somebody and only 20 grand put in there, and another 10 grand, say, missing, never put in to the evidence room. Easy things like that. Then you have cartel running around, and you got to think these pensions, it's not all great and extravagant for years of work. And you can look this up. There's a sheriff's deputy out of California. He was using his squad car and recruiting other deputies to take drugs from California over state line in squad vehicles, and they were getting $150,000 plus for each run. 10 of those runs, they're a millionaire. That's cash, tax-free money. And you think 340,000, yeah, not 300,000. There's $40,000 missing out of the reward money. They made a big deal. It was 240,000, then all of a sudden $100,000 donation was put into that reward fund. Where did 40,000 of that donation money go? It was at 240. Then you add $100,000 on top of that, would have made it 342, 45 ish $1,000 in the reward fund, and it's now only an even 300. Hmm. She stole my truck and sold it at auction. Kept me with the rest of it. Didn't shut up. See, and see right there, Delphi former police chief got busted with all the cocaine in Florida. And it's just like I said, blame McClellan, Nicholas McClellan. There is more than enough right now sitting right now in informant files, and you've got more than enough sitting right now federal level where you can get a federal special prosecutor involved in more than one missing, killed, and murdered case, both young and old alike. You can get a special federal prosecutor involved and federal court system involved, unbiased, straight up looking, and you can get feds involved, be it the FBI, the Drug Task Force. One of the biggest things I am calling for right now, there needs to be a RICO investigation done. When you've got from state senators, other elected officials, state and local affiliations with kingpin drug cartel members, drug dealers, their affiliations are flaunting it all over the place where anybody can see it, but it's nothing to be concerned about, nothing to see here. Come on. You've got enough individuals getting paid off. Who's being paid off? We will not know until a RICO investigation is done and concluded. The corrupt individuals that are involved are getting paid off, are found to be such, are sitting in jail right there. It's not till something like that, then we can trust, like the court case going against Richard Allen. You got Kathy Allen. You got, like I brought up, Brooke Ball. Other individuals, like AJ Robinson knows Brooke Ball from Florida, working over in Kokomo. Brooke's own history. And I got to watch how I'm going to do this. I'm going to bring up uh, records, court records, like Blaine McClellan. I'm going to make sure I'm uh, dotting my I's. I mean, crossing my I's, cross my T's, dotting my I's, everything. So it's not slander. I'm bringing up facts that there is a drug ring. You got elected officials, their own family, they've known for years involved within this drug ring. Then you got individuals, even Nicholas McClellan, refusing to even look at his own family involvement within a deadly cartel ran drug ring that's behind multiple murders, missing and killed, including Delphi. Well, there's individuals within this drug ring that had very high motives, thousands of dollars of drugs owed, not only to them, then you got even more thousands money owed to individuals. It's a high motivation factor when you've got easily $32,000, that's just Delphi alone, owed to Gabriel Ellis and that ring. Then you got another 20. I'm hearing about Karina. That's $52,000 of money and drugs by Gabe owed back to that cartel ring. Kill or be killed. Get our money. Then you got issues where I'm going to call out the Patties, just like I'm going to call out the former Howard County Commissioner. Look up right now. If you don't believe me, in the United States of America, the cartels, one of the number one ways they use within the United States to launder their drug money, their drug and their murder, their sex trafficking money is real estate. You can't tell me the Patties never got paid by any of these drug members, these dealer buddies of like Derek and his family, his friends, never got paid off to up a value of a property, assess it more than what it really is. And here, for doing so, we're going to inflate this value of this property, say from 50,000 to 150,000. And for you doing it, here's say 20, $30,000 for inflation of this property. We didn't do anything to it. We didn't add anything to it, but thanks to you valuing it, it went from 50 to $150,000 on, say, this piece of property. Hmm. You got a commissioner where he's on brokers. He's now a former commissioner. I seen speak at a known dealer's funeral, a big time drug dealer out of Kokomo, speaking at his and other individuals like his funeral, like your best friends knew him for ages. I thought that was a little odd. Still, at the commissioner at the time speaking at a individual's funeral. I thought that was a little odd. And yeah, it seems complacent. It's just sad. It's actually, I believe so. Yes, Diamond. So I'm reading back on some of you guys said. But yeah, you got the former police chief uh, busted cocaine down in Florida. A lot of these individuals, like the individual that was actually busted, like a Kokomo police officer, was stealing fentanyl patches on duty while on a call to help a little old lady. He stole fentanyl patches from this little old lady, was high on duty, and I'm hearing was getting drugs, narcotics off of this drug ring many times while he was still in the uniform for Kokomo Police Department. And you can't tell me these agencies and even FBI, the agent Michael Curtis, something that haunts me till this day. The FBI knows about the corruption and the RICO investigation. They've been doing it for years. They know about the corruption, both Carroll, Howard, and other surrounding areas with this drug ring and these corrupt individuals, elected officials, law enforcement. They know about the corruption, but Michael Curtis's own words, they are letting it brew on the back burner for how long? FBI admits they knew about corruption, still to this day, knows about corruption. And it's not until we, the people, get loud and proud, just like I need you guys to do, with what Detective Myers, 40 child exploitation cases. 40 is hella too many. And I guarantee a hell of a lot less than what the real number really is. I guarantee it's a few hundred. Guarantee it easily. Sitting cold on their desk. But I'm going to go back to one of the very biggest cases of child exploitation turned murder, sitting cold on their desk, was Delphi. And I had a detective, two of them, getting cocky with me, not giving me time to speak, refusing to let me speak, then giving excuses. How's that acceptable? Quite a few houses ran through their hands and other certain families' name. Thank you. See, nobody know nothing. See, some people are starting to notice this, but still so many are sitting quiet, silent. Nothing to see here. Get real. There's been more than enough for ages. But when you've got detectives saying that things that can be easily, if pushed up to the federal level and allowed to come in, you've got children's cases that could easily get justice, get help on, get individuals locked up on. When you got egotistical and corrupt, incompetent detectives like Myers and Benzinger over these kids' cases, think of the children. And if Carter is anything like he says he is, we need to call him out in things like this where it counts. Hold them accountable with that new police accountability law. Hold them accountable all the way up to him and others. It needs to happen. And it starts with us and our voices and our demands, our outcries on what? Being victim centered. We're seeing this. If we can see this, you can't tell me they're detectives within already knowing about the network analysis within this drug ring, the operations of this drug ring on the deeper levels. If they can get the drug bus, where's these children? These multiple 19 plus missing, killed, and murdered kids of all people. Where is the justice for these children? My Lord above, that's one thing that's pushed me more than anything to get justice for these kids above all. The adults and children alike. But when it comes to the children that I swore an oath to protect and serve up to and including my life, you think a few death threats, if I keep talking, I'll be the next one missing, killed? I'll gladly be the next one to be missing, killed, put 6 feet under, that flag over my body. I would gladly stand up knowing you act on me and the army I have behind me, seeing things for what it is. You act on me, I know by God these children will be getting justice sooner than later. So Gabrielis and other sick pieces of shit out here, excuse my language, I say fuck you and fuck you that drug ring can go to hell. I can't wait to the day I'm sitting right here. I may be down in health, but I get to laugh and watch each and every single one of you sick pieces of shit rot in a jail cell. And I hope to God I prove more than enough where some of you get the death penalty. A death for a death for a death. This needs to happen. More than one of these cases needs the death penalty. You take a life and you can walk around, become a mother, a father, a grandparent. Yes, that's sitting right now. There's children being brought into this world around these individuals, and they're trying to be like, "Oh, I'm getting right with Jesus. I'm going to church now. I was baptized and this, that, and the other." And don't look at my history. I was a dealer with them that killer drug ring, but don't look at my history. I'll praise Jesus and oh, I'm going to heaven. You're not going to heaven. You're going to rot in hell. Especially an individual. I know you've been listening to these videos when there's a female, let her family know she stabbed one of the girls just to know how it felt, and are trying to use meth psychosis and severe bipolar and schizophrenia excuses. Excuses come excuses are like an asshole. Each and every single one of us have one. And that's something even Anna Williams brought up. Meth girls earrings. During a conversation I had with her, down to there's the letter I heard used at Karina's case, the same group leaving a little message behind at the crime scene. That's another thing. Everybody's not really opening up their minds, but look back when it comes to Gabriel Ellis, you got Tyler Joe French, and others. Look back at that rune. Same one Brad Porter was talking about. The F rune was being talked about up to the 13th, the day of. Look back and watch that video. But nothing to see there. And how many of these YouTubers, when it comes to this drugging, don't look at that. You got other elected officials, up to even Nicholas McClellan, knowing if you guys looked in, the man that drugging looked into, his own cousin be looked at. Question. I guarantee he has knowledge. Still to this day, when it comes to more than one kid's life being taken, Blaine McClellan, I'm calling you and the rest of them out. Your affiliations. You talk amongst each other. You all know a hell of a lot more than what you're willing to talk about. And I hope it takes a few that are sitting right now, years behind bars, to break first. Already got two to break. Start demanding some real words out of some of these people. And I hope to God it doesn't happen like this, but when it involves children and a bunch of pissed off people, they do this, what they call it jailhouse court. They take them behind bars and they've taken care of people, and people have spent the rest of their lives behind bars when it comes to getting kids justice. If the law won't, we, the people, will. We are trying to get it done the legal way, but God above, I'm telling you this now. There's been many people, including fathers, take it in their own hands. Justice wouldn't happen until they got it served. I don't want it to happen like that. I'd rather see these sick individuals spend the rest of their life behind bars for getting the death penalty. And I hate saying it, but Derek, Joshua Lang, Dustin Prater, William Duff, Blaine McClellan, you all need to be charged. withholding information, and the allowance of this drug ring to keep on taking lives. At some point along the line, I don't care, be it long or short, you guys need to face the time for your own inactions, your silence, and deciding to protect each other and that drug ring. And anybody that within your families allow this to continue, these other children's lives to be taken. There's toddlers right now still missing. We don't even know where they are. Goes back to this drug ring. You within each other know a hell of a lot more down to where these kids are right now. Were they sold? Were they killed? Someone within this drug ring knows, and let it be known to the ones above them. And there's some law enforcement around this that have known this and looked the other way. You need to spend time in jail for allowances of what you've done. It's sick. Makes me sick. And some of you individuals, there's some names I've been noticing. There's like Army vets, Brad Holder even. You swore an oath to protect people, not to prey on these people. Then some of you swore in an oath. You forget that oath. A lot of these names that are going to be showing up, they're not going to like it because, oh, I had no knowledge. I didn't know anything. But yet you're friends with suspects from murder, suspects down to dealers, to in around other missing cold cases. Your name pops around every single one of them. You know them all. I won't give her last name, but Stacy, you know what I'm talking about. Just like a YouTuber, Tara, you're getting money in for Galen, but yet you guys never want to really break down and ask her some hard questions and force her to talk about her knowledge. Each and every single one of those witnesses she used for that multi-thousand-dollar lawsuit all belong to what drug ring? Hmm. Even a murder suspect. Like I said, Jennifer, Ashley, and Garrett being friends with multiple family members like Anna and Derek, Terry, Brad, German. They all know a hell of a lot more than what they're willing to talk about. And if they talk about it, it will not shed a good light. It will not be camera friendly. It will not be donation friendly if the truth comes out. If this drug ring is involved, they've known it, they were complicit, and they've allowed this to stay silent for this long. No longer. I'm gonna come back through, but everybody, I know you guys have been wanting me to drop all these videos, but I got to do it in a certain way where if they want to come attacking me, they're not going to have a court case. I'm not going to make sure it's not going to be slander. It's no defamation. It's speaking the truth. I'm bringing out like the charges, like Blaine McClellan dealing in methamphetamine. Look it up for yourselves. And how did his cousin, prosecuting office, how he got barely even a slap on the wrist? Hmm. How many times like that happen? Makes you wonder.